Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back to talk about my top 40 releases of 2022. This is part one. Um, again, hell of a year for metal. A lot of veteran bands released some absolute bangers. You had a lot of new bands that released their debut full length album finally in 2022, which there was a lot on this list. Um, it's so hard to do these lists because again, I don't rank these, so the way I show these is just how I have them written down and everything. But it's so hard to make these lists because you end up leaving stuff off that you know is good, such as the new Scars of Flesh, Casket Robbery, Municipal Waste, and a bunch of others released some absolutely great albums. But you have to cut the list off at some point. This is probably my biggest list that I've ever done for year end as far as full lengths go. So yeah, this is going to be part one, the first 20, again, in no particular order here, but I am going to talk about the ones that I did reviews of that actually made the list. So if you want full in-depth thoughts on these releases, go check out the reviews. And we're going to kick things off with Shield of Wings and their debut full-length, Unfinished. This Chicago-based symphonic gothic metal act were one of my favorite discoveries of the year. With this debut full-length album, it's got thick bass, heavy galloping riffs, solid drumming with epic and lush keyboards and synths, topped off by just absolutely stunning vocals. This thing was just so well written and executed. It's equal parts heavy and melodic with an overall epic feel, and I really look forward to hearing more from this band in the future. Then we have Maul with Seraphic Punishment. Sorry about the glare again, fighting that again this morning. But Fargo, North Dakota's Maul also released their debut full-length album last year, and having been a fan for a while, it was eagerly awaited by me, and honestly, it did not disappoint. They wasted no time hitting you right off the bat in the face with some heavy, chuggy riffs, thick bass, drums that sound like they're just being punished. They're hit so hard, and just a brutal and very varied vocal performance on here. This is a must-hear, in my opinion. Then we have Critical Extravasation with Order of Decadence. A complete unknown to me before receiving a promo for this album, yet it easily became a favorite release and a brand new band for me to keep an eye on. This debut album from this Russian tech death thrash unit just strikes with some D.D. Verny-ish style bass, thrashy, kind of melodic death metal feeling riffs with some absolutely killer guitar solos, excellent drum work, some subtle keyboards, and it's absolutely rabid sounding vocals. It's headbangable and catchy to the point of being stuck in your head, and again, it's another must-hear album, and honestly, it's one it's really hard to find any fault with at all. So go check out Critical Extravasation. Then we have Autophagy with Bacteriophage. Portland, Oregon has a hell of a scene, I have to say, and this death metal unit is a great example, as I have been a fan since their 2018 demo, and I was really excited to hear this debut full-length album, so I was really happy I was able to finally track down a copy. It's heavy and evil-sounding guitars that are, they're just fast, but also groovy with some slow and dirgy moments and just killer guitar solos. Thick rumbling bass, very cool drum work. I really love the double bass and the blast beats on this thing, and just powerful John McEntee-ish style low growls. Definitely a band to keep an eye on as well. Next up, Castrator with Defiled in Oblivion. I have been a fan of this band since their 2015 EP with a new vocalist on this album. I was anxious to see what this debut would offer, and these ladies did not disappoint me at all. Fantastic guitar work on here, very Terry Butler-esque style bass here, badass drum work, and just savage vocals from their new throat, Clarissa, who also was in Vicious Blade, whose EP made my year-end list. Honestly, these ladies just prove they know how to kick serious ass. Go check this out. All right. Next up, Kill Division, Peace Through Tyranny. This Florida-based death metal act was another unknown to me before getting a promo for this release, and it ended up as yet another new favorite of mine. It's fast and thrashy with headbangable grooves, twangy bass, solid drumming with some very malevolent creation-ish double bass and blast beats on here, and the still absolutely killer growl and roar of former Malevolent Creation frontman Kyle Simons. These veterans show you exactly how to put out 24 minutes of just pure badass death grind. Next up, we go to Ohio for Mutilatred and Determined to Rot. Toledo, Ohio's brutal death metal bruisers, Mutilatred, were on my radar already, but the promo I got for this made me an instant fan. This thing absolutely wastes no time kicking you in the face with the heavy, chunky guitars, the thick bass, killer drumming, and just deep, low growls that once again are very John McEntee-ish with some just nasty sounding screams. Lots of headbang ability on this album to be found, and a really sick Mortician cover as well as a nice bonus. Go check this one out. Next up, we have Sentient Horror with Rites of Gore. Yeah, on offer with this album is some Swedeath by way of Stockholm, New Jersey. Not Stockholm, Sweden. Stockholm, New Jersey. I didn't even know a place like that even existed, to be honest with you, until I discovered this band. Mid-paced, heavy yet melodic riffs are all over this album. Thick bass, great drums with some solid blasts and double bass work. And the vocals really remind me of the late, great L.G. Petrov. Honestly, once this thing gets started, there's very little let up. Just one banger after another. Very solid album. Definitely want to get more from them. And then the last two that were in the review pile are both Indiana releases. We have Demiricus with 3 Chaotic Lethal. Being a longtime fan of this band, I was ecstatic for a new album after 11 years of being gone. Yet it was to be yet again their swan song album as they broke up not long after I saw them at Heavy Hell 3, but what a way to go than with this kind of an album. Just thrashy, nasty, heavy, headbangable guitars, thick bass, killer drums, and just absolutely pissed off sounding vocals. This thing hardly lets up from the get-go and just pummels you the entire time. And these guys are definitely going to be sorely missed. Rest in power, Demiricus. And then next we have Obscene with From Dead Horizon to Dead Horizon. These indie death mongers are one of the best old school style death metal bands going right now, and honestly it's only going upwards and onwards with this band, especially from here on out. Heavy, dirty sounding guitars, thick, twangy bass, powerful drums from Brandon, and then Kyle's Tumpa-ish, and just savage vocal delivery all over the top of it. Again, another must-hear album in my opinion, and a definite must-own. All right, now on to the other stuff that I did not do reviews of. Kicking things off in this stack, we have Wolfheart with King of the North. I actually only own the debut album from this band up until now, and I actually picked this up after hearing a lot of good things about this particular release, and I am honestly glad that I did. Solid drum work and production on here. I absolutely love the blast beats and the double bass work on this album. I love the bass. The atmospheric keys, I think, are done perfectly, not overly used, and just absolutely great kind of Peter Tägtgren-ish vocals. There's also some clean vocals on here as well. And having Carl Sanders as a guest spot is definitely not a bad touch either. So really solid album in my opinion. I definitely want to pick up the rest of them. Next up, Black Braid with One. This was a random discovery by me. I'd only heard two songs that were available at the time from this band. I don't even remember exactly how I ended up finding them, but once I heard those two songs, I eagerly awaited this debut album, and I just absolutely love this thing's mix of old school black metal with traditional folk elements, as well as the overall, Native American lyrical theme and presentation, and just the the emotional flutes that are on this thing are just so amazing to hear. I mean, you basically, the way this album flows, you get, a traditional black metal sounding song, then you get more of a, traditional folky song, then it goes back to black metal, and it kind of goes back and forth. But in my opinion, it makes for a very nice flowing album. I cannot wait for the next one. Hopefully he will be putting out some new material this coming year. Next up, a late bloomer for me. I'd been hearing about this album, and I finally checked it out, and I was like, holy shit, this is definitely going to be on the list. But that is No Moss with Consume, Deny, Repent. Again, I was late to the party with these dudes, but they really impressed me with this album. 15 tracks in just about 21 minutes, filled with blast beats, thick, twangy bass, heavy, headbangable guitars, and just absolutely killer growls and screams. I definitely want more from this DC-based death grind act because, yeah, this really impressed me. This is their debut album. They do have a couple of EPs that I definitely want to track down. All right, next up, Bastard with Rotten Blood. I actually missed this Missouri-based black and thrash act at Heavy Hell 3 for whatever reason. I don't remember the exact reason why I missed their set. And while at the time I never actually heard them, it didn't really, I didn't really think too much of that. But after hearing this, I really, really regret seeing their set. Yeah, this is just filled with solid drumming. I really love his double bass work on here. D.D. Verney-ish style bass, headbangable guitar work with some absolutely killer guitar solos and just simply badass vocals. This album just absolutely kicked my ass. Next chance I get to see these guys, I am definitely going to try to do that and make up for my poor decision making at Heavy Hell 3. Next up, cheers to Necrotic Nick over at Thralls of Metal for bringing these Norwegian doomsters back to my attention. But this is Sog with Born Demon. This album is just absolutely fantastic in my opinion. It's doom with some traditional heavy metal thrown in the mix. The vocals are just outstanding. I mean, just listen to the chorus of Opener, Fall Into the Fire. That is just so damn catchy and gets stuck in my head all the time after I get done listening to this. Honestly, this album is just catchy as fuck and demands repeated listens, so go check out Sog. And I definitely want to pick up the rest of their catalog as well. Next up, Death White with Gray Everlasting. Yeah, another discovery thanks to Necrotic Nick. The third album from this Pittsburgh-based melodic doom / gothic metal act just really impressed me upon listening to it on Bandcamp. It's heavy, somber, emotive guitar work, great bass playing. The guitars have that kind of dissonance to them as well. And there's some really great solos on here. Some of my favorite tracks, my absolute favorite track on here is White Sleep. When he does that part where he's like, I am nothing. I mean, that just gets me every time. But you also have the follow-up track, Immemorial, and then also Blood and Rain with that killer bass intro. I am definitely going to be picking up more from these guys. So go check out Death White. Awesome band. Another band that I was lucky enough to see at Heavy Hell 3, and they just blew me away, and I've been a fan of this band for a while. This is Midnight with Let There Be Witchery. Yeah, Athanar really just never disappoints me, to be honest. This is just another slab of just catchy, headbangable black and speed metal with great solos and just great vocals. Like I said, if you ever get a chance to catch Midnight live, go check them out. I mean, this album just fucking rules, plain and simple. All right. Got 3 more in this stack in this part of the list. That is Soulfly with Totem. Again, I absolutely love that artwork. I was so happy I was able to get a shirt with this art. I've been wanting a Soulfly shirt for a while anyway. But yeah, Max Cavalera is honestly just a legend. There's no question about that. And this project that he formed back in 1997 after exiting Sepultura has honestly been going strong since. I mean, they've had their kind of ups and downs in terms of their albums. But yeah, on this, their 12th full-length album, I think they have released one of their best albums to date. After 2012's, absolutely brutal sounding Enslaved, the last 3 that followed really didn't capture that feel for me. I mean, they were still pretty decent albums, but they just didn't capture that feel I got from Enslaved. But this album absolutely blew me away from the first listen, and I revisited it quite often after I got it. So yeah, Soulfly, Totem, kick-ass album. Go check it out. Next up, Decapitated, Cancer Culture. This Polish tech death groove metal band has definitely had its ups and downs over the last several years for sure. Ever since that tragic accident and everything. But, their last 3 albums I thought were, pretty good. I mean, they had some good songs on it. But this right here, to me, is a big improvement, as in my opinion it has much more of the old Decapitated feel to it. This album is just absolutely ferocious, and the fact that you got Ginger's Tatiana to do a guest vocal spot on Hello Death was an absolute highlight for me, as I love her vocals. And yeah, really made this album for me, so go check it out. And finally, this should come as no surprise to anybody that knows me. This is Amon Amarth with The Great Heathen Army. As I said, anyone who knows me knows how much I love this band. And while their Jomsviking album was kind of with some okay songs on it, I thought 2019's Berserker was a huge improvement, and this album here I think just continues that. Songs like, the lead-off track, Get in the Ring, Odin Owns You All, Find a Way or Make One, and then Saxons and Vikings with guest vocals from Biff Byford from Saxon, who, how more perfect is that to get the singer from Saxon to sing on a song about Saxons and Vikings? I mean, come on. Just a lot of great songs on this album. Of course, many will say that ever since Twilight of the Thunder God, they've pretty much went downhill. Yeah, they have not really captured that, heavy sound, but they still got a sound all their own, and this is just, in my opinion, another solid album in their catalog. So that is why it's on my list. All right. That is going to do it for the first 20 of this list. I've still got to do notes for the second part and everything, so I will try to get that out as quickly as I possibly can. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, and that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and until next time, stay brutal.